keywords for Noel are going to be delivery, milk, eggs, anything relative to a stable or horse. So let's talk about that Ouija board and kind of give you guys this.
I already recorded one time. It was standing position before.
I can catch like flashes from the
point, and it's the blink of light that you saw that was floating by. Because that's where we get most of our information. So what do you got?
So don't make a mistake.
Don't make a mistake. Okay, now you're getting. What else?
Wait, hold up. I made a mistake. That's funny how it says don't make a mistake and I make a mistake.
Like, is that funny though?
Because right when I was over here, if I was recording, I would have gotten my mom. She split into two different people at one point.
People's ideas.
So let's move over this way. Looks like she's going to her vehicle. I need to get out my other pen because this one's about done. I'm going to put it in my bag. Again, I got the phrase not much longer, and if you guys recall last time you were here, Heather, we spent quite a bit of time here. One of the promises I made Eliza to keep coming back was that we were going to make this a little bit shorter. So when I get phrases like not much longer, does it seem relevant to you?
9.
See, you're getting good at this. Look at there. Get better as the night goes on. All right, so.
Orange.
I know what the hell orange is. The fire looked orange on the picture I showed you. That's the only reference I got. We're going to go to Philadelphia Alley, so those of you guys with cameras. So, obviously, when people start walking through here, they'll come out of that ivy wall. I'll kind of give you the heads up of when you're going to finish your cameras down. Noel, what have you heard along the way? Anything?
Orphanage.
I love orphanages. Especially abandoned.
John showed up at 9:47, so that was 4 minutes ago, so we would have still been pretty close to the Pinckney Mansion site, so that's kind of bleed over. And we have the word right while we're in here, which is going to make sense here in just a moment. When I say that it was called bleed over, that's part of the reason why we're here. We're not going to spread out like what we did over at the Pinckney Mansion site and kind of walk all over and up and down this alley, because again, it can get very busy. We're just here to stir shit up. So we're going to have a group coming through, just so you guys know. They're going to be coming out of that wall. But we're here to stir things up, so at the next location, we're hopefully going to get clues from this space, along with the extra piece of history over there, to get things coming through. So watch your camera, they're coming down. How's it going, man?
Good, how are you?
We keep eating like this.
I know, what's your name?
Nick.
Nick, I'm Joe. Nice
Joe,
to meet you.
nice to meet you,
What
man.
company are you with?
I own my own. Stories in the Cemetery.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so.
That's awesome.
It's more than likely the bulldog. No other cooler actually like that. So, just be mindful. We've been getting a lot of rats in here. Love to crawl around right behind you, just so you know. So,
Blood.
oh, that's a good one for this location.
I want to start something. I love making.
Let's not make things bad. Not at this location. Maybe the next one.
That's
What?
Yeah. This is
What?
this is
Did you say something about like a shootout?
this is a duel.
Yeah.
That we're talking about.
Yeah, it's not.
not a shootout, not a school shooting.
I mean, close enough.
Kind of. Here's how the story goes. Every tour normally stops down here. I'm surprised that guy doesn't. He just cuts through here. But he still goes to Lodge Alley. I don't know what story he's telling down there, but there's no other history other than what I gave you guys last time. But anyway, you're in Philadelphia Alley now. This used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur. Remember that dueling was illegal, so they had to find a hiding spot to go, perform this event. Here's how the story goes. There was a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. If you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl, it's not a coincidence. That's part of his name, just so you know. But anyway, Dr. Ladd moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of the cash. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So Dr. Ladd moved to Charleston to prove that he wasn't after Amanda's money. As he's coming into town, the coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a good start to his coming to Charleston, but somebody was walking by. His name was Ralph Isaacs. So we're going to stop on Ralph for a second because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from, R.I. We actually have an envoy device now. Did you guys see that before? I'll pull that one out here shortly. It's basically a digital Ouija board. It's really cool. It's not the most productive. That's probably why I didn't bring it out with a smaller group. Have you seen it like on YouTube?
Isn't it the thing that's like shows yes, no, and like you can have like special faces and stuff?
Yeah, it has emojis, yes,
Yeah.
no's, numbers, and letters.
Yeah, that's.
I've seen it in some videos. Yeah.
So again, not the most productive because I don't like the yes, no portion of it, as you guys already know. But the emoji thing is stupid to me because colonial ghosts don't know what the hell emojis are. So what'd you get?
William.
Okay, bleed over already for next one. Nice. You gotta remind me to write that one down. That's a good one. I'll break out the envoy here shortly. But anyway, back to Ralph. Again, him having the same initials as where the doctor came from, R.I., we were getting it all the time on spirit boxes. So I got the envoy to see if we would get the very specific letters, and we have. So in the past 6 months, I would say we've gotten it 3 or 4 times. So in that specific order. But anyway, back to Ralph. He tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Just come with me to 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from some friends of mine and you'll be safe and good to go. Doctor took him up on the offer. They became friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he's not just after Amanda's money. So he becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Now, every haunted city has a cliched whistling ghost. But again, we'll talk more about the actual proof of that whistle here in a minute. But Ralph and Dr. Ladd go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. He just gets better seats. So they talk about these plays on the way home. They went to go see Richard III one night, and they started arguing over the new actress. The doctor thought she was great. Ralph didn't. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. And they went their separate ways. It got pretty ugly. Ralph then went to his friends at the newspaper and told them he wanted to place an ad telling the whole city of Charleston what he thought of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. The doctor saw the ad but rebutted with, let's go to Duelers Alley. We're going to come down here and duke it out and somebody's going to die. So they came down, they took their 10 paces, they turned, the doctor pointed his gun in his air. He didn't want to kill his friend. uses one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd didn't die, but his friends picked him up and carried him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later. He refused medical treatment. I want to point that out too, and it's only because he's a doctor. Gunshot wounds back in 1786 were a lot different than what they are now. He probably tried to bleed out this bullet wound himself from the lead poisoning. So, they say as you walk all the way through this alley, you can actually hear the whistles. Of course, you don't have to do that because we're using 2 cameras and my voice recorder. Pay attention at this part of your videos and audio and listen for whistles in the background. If you're going to come all the way through here on your own and just use your voice recorders on your phone, I always kind of warn that every local knows the story. So anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street throws a whistle. You hear gun? We have Gun and William. Good stuff. William is not relevant here. It's relevant to our next space. We're getting bleed over, just so you guys know. I haven't checked my word list yet, but the word right was very specific to this location. But the other piece of this is that I got kicked out of here. Do you guys remember how I got kicked out of here? Because I always tell this story. So you guys don't know, but Connor's like, yeah, I want to hear how the hell Nick got in trouble. So the alley doesn't go all the way through. It didn't used to go all the way through this way. It was blocked off. So that means those bricks down there are older. They're sun-dried bricks from slave children, and there's a full handprint in one of those bricks. So I used to show off that brick all the time. I treat it the same way I do a grave. That kid's not staring at that brick in the afterlife. November 26th of 2020, my entire team wanted to huddle around that brick and wait for something to happen. I'm trying to shoo them along because I know nothing's going to happen. And secondly, it's right outside the kitchen window, the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley where I didn't know I was out of bounds because it's considered residential. So the new owner came out, he was screaming. My daughter thought it was great because I'm getting yelled at because she was on the tour that night, and we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't work Thanksgiving. The next day after that, I called my partner up and I told him what happened. He said, dude, you can't go down that far. You're only allowed to go down halfway, or you got to reroute the group because of the residents at the end. So I decided that night I'm going to reroute and not tell my group a whole lot about it because I didn't know a lot about pirates. I'm a vampire guy. So before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them who we were going to be investigating, which was Anne Bonny, the famous female pirate. That's who we're going to be diving into next. So I got a little like, all right, something's going to happen. We get up there, somebody else heard the number 300. Turns out we were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So I've been reading more and more books about pirates, watching a whole hell of a lot of documentaries, and of course playing video games that have pirates in them so I can get different versions of the story.
I'm ready to kill Anne.
And that might be your cue to give up your spirit box. So we have William. What was the other piece? Gun, right? William, gun. I'm ready to kill Anne. Any numbers coming out of yours? I would expect like a 5 to a 7 because of the lampposts.
I've got nothing. I stayed at 1 over here, and mostly at 0 on this one.
What's funny is I was going through last week's data this morning, and while we were here, the phrase "count your paces" came up on one of the radio stations. You have to take 10 paces in order to perform a duel. I was super stoked about that. That's not a normal thing you would normally hear. And gun. And no EMF readings. Anything crazy going on with your cameras?
No.
Do you guys want me to bring out that little Ouija board device, that little envoy? It's up to you. It's your night. Yeah? She's like, yeah, I want to see it.
I love it. I love emojis.
We're not going to use emojis. We're going to use letters.
Oh, I just got something fly across my screen.
That's good.
I'm not sure if it was a reflection because I was moving it, but
Who's getting the Ouija board?
Me.
Alright.
I'm totally satanic.
Ghosts don't know what the hell emojis are. It's stupid. I'm just going to put it out there right now. It's dumb. So, come on over. Let me show you how to use this thing. Grab your stuff. Alright, so
I've been eating the cookies the whole time.
he has been munching quite a bit.
oh yeah, I've noticed. In
I just
videos,
ratted you out.
In videos, when I watch them, the envoy, every time the envoy, it seems like confused. Every
Yeah,
time a
that's why I
ghost
don't-
uses the envoy because it's like
I don't use that.
it'll
Yes,
say
no,
something.
no.
It'll say something like vaguely similar, but not quite correct.
It likes to give us the wrong spellings of things. I've noticed that. So this device, you have to treat it the exact same way as your K2 EMF meter, because that's how it works. We're not going to be using these two sensitivities down here, because we're going to be using EMF only because we're outside. It does take a tripod, so if I was doing an investigation indoors, I would probably use one out of the three at a time. So it's basically an EMF meter, but it's going to give us letters instead of actual numbers like what Mom has. So in a nutshell, there's our friend Remy climbing across the wall. So
Aw, so
Yep.
cute.
yeah, he's pretty much been down here every night. But basically, in a nutshell, anytime there's an EMF spike, anytime there's a spike, it's going to take the cursor that's moving all the letters and it's going to put it into the bottom row. So what we're looking for are initials, any kind of anagram we need to decipher. So when I say anagram, so my name, Nick, would come up like NCKI. We have all the letters that make up my name. We just have to rearrange it to get it, if that makes sense. Certain names like Eliza obviously have an odd letter of Z in it, so that would be like your first clue that we might have an anagram we need to decipher. Obviously, it's given us a few specific spellings from time to time, not a whole lot. We usually have to decipher what's going on with it. But anytime you get a bottom row that's full, you're going to take the big dial and turn it down to 6 o'clock, and then you're going to go back up to 9 o'clock and get a nice fresh start. Every new location, we only got 2 more locations to go to, so every location you're going to restart it and see if anything else actually comes up out of it.
So does it like save?
No, you have to tell me what's going on so I can write down the letters. So it's very, again, it's not always productive every single night. Sometimes we just get the very specific letters that a word starts off with, especially if it's a long word. So let's just take arthritis, for example. It might spell out the word art because those are the first 3 letters, if that makes sense. So sometimes you have to kind of take the clues of what you have, because the ghosts don't know how to use this damn thing yet. Even though I still have it out there, I'd say half the time. Again, they still don't know what they're doing with it yet. Like, I've literally been coaching them. If I come down here early enough before I meet with you guys, I'll go work with that at a location and tell them how to use it. So that way they know, like, they can get a little bit closer, drop a little bit more energy from, my cell phone or whatever they need to, so that way they can create that EMF to make it go off and show me a letter. And I'll say, I'm looking for the letter P. Can you make a letter P show up? Those kind of things. I start off real simple with them. I'm still trying to, like, train the ghost, so to speak. So again, you guys know that this is all I do. So that's why I'm getting an office down here. I'm actually going to start going and doing lives at 3 a.m. on YouTube. So I'm going to be down here working on your data. I'm going to be done by 3 o'clock. I might as well give you guys more by going to one specific place and talking about it and showing off different pieces of my gear. It'll be a PR piece in marketing, but at the same time, you guys will have something to see if I capture something on that camera, because that's probably what I'm going to tour with when I walk around the city. So I'll probably just go to one specific place and talk about it for a few minutes, show off the devices, and then that'll be the end of it. It'll probably be like 15 to 30 minutes at a time, because who the hell's going to get up at 3 a.m. and really watch me? So I'd rather make 30-minute videos at 3 a.m., show the time, that kind of thing, and just have some fun with it. But I'm already going to be down here. The wife's already going to be sleeping. I might as well create more content for the website. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, Connor, you got anything else going on over there?
No, but I did notice there's flies flying around,
Okay.
so.
More than likely is. Go ahead and stop your video and give it a break. Yep, same with yours.
Legs.
Okay.
I'm not gonna record my legs.
Alright, just still run. It's all insured. We're good. It's business.
Why? There's absolutely nothing here. Just like
We
Well,
never know.
go to your corner.
Yeah, let's go to the corner. Let's see what we can get over there.
the corner.
See if we have a repeat.
Why do you have the fresh?
And you know what questions we're going to ask, so just start giving us some answers. Once we got up to the sidewalk, she's like, I can't go in there. Like, her heart was beating 1,000 miles a minute, and she just could not even come in. So we gave her a few minutes, and she ended up coming in, or meeting with us as we were leaving the space, but her mom left the space to go with her. She was a young girl, she's about 17, 18 years old. So that happens in this space quite a bit. That one specific because it just happened. You got anything going on? Feel okay?
I'm
I
cold.
just got laughing.
Like the word laughing or somebody laughing?
Somebody laughing.
The young boy.
It's like after
Country 98. This is the second time I got the number 98.
That's because that's the year Anne Bonny was born. 1698.
It was?
You heard 95 earlier. I didn't catch when you said 98. She was born in 1698.
Sorry, actually, never mind. Yeah, the first time was 95, second time was 98.
Noelle's like, move out of this place.
We'll be back in a couple. That's the bank. I keep getting things about banks. It's weird.
I'm fine over here.
I might have to blindfold all three of them.
Always really good with spirit box.
We might start off with her, I think.
The only place she doesn't get anything is in the engine room of the
I got it last
a
time.
little bit, but like they don't like females down there, so they don't do it.
When London and I went through there, all of our terms that we got were all religious terms. It was the weirdest thing. On both
Steven
spirit
has
boxes.
found.
Really, really weird.
I still remember when we were on the Yorktown. I forget.
You can swear words.
I remember that was like I'm pretty sure I sat on the bed that someone
I
died
didn't
in,
do it.
and then I also put my arm on another bed that the first person died on. I think
Oh yeah, and then we.
I forget. I just kept touching the beds that people died in.
I don't remember if I think that was when you were gone, but we figured out how they didn't die from
And the
lice.
year you were
They died from
hit.
something else. Never.
What was it? Is it
B.
B?
First time you got the secondary one.
95.9.
90,000.
Lots of nines.
Burn.
Another burn with the fire.
BTYZ.
We have gotten Anne Bonny's initials in here. We also got Mary Reed's initials in here. So
39.
ABMR.
BTYZK.
Yeah, it's not spelling anything worth
R.
figuring.
So you're getting a lot of obviously interference from just EMF moving around because it's on the highest
Come with
sensitivity.
me.
So yours should be at like 0.3, 0.5 if he's getting this much.
No, it's 0.
0 on both of them.
Well, it's 0.5 on this one and 0 on this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, get like 2 more terms out of them and I'll give them the answers so we can go start this Estes method.
It just stopped.
Yeah, imagine that.
BTYZ.
Yeah, when you get what looks like a prescription where you can't pronounce it, that's where you reset it. So I would reset it at this point because it doesn't look like you're doing anything
X.
specific. We get a lot of X's here. I don't know why. Makes a happy little ghost
That's
song.
Noel.
at the
I know it's
beginning.
Noelle. It looks like she's dancing.
Yeah, it's because you're moving it too fast. That's why it always looks like those 2 people there. When you move it quick like that.
I mean, but the difference was like when I was back there, I saw it just like my
So
mom
upset
split into
with
2
them
completely
both.
different people. She went this way, the other one was going the same direction. That's common.
Yeah, if there's 2 different motions and 2 different directions, that's where I'm like, okay, what's going on? But if it's somebody and it's like 2 people doing the exact same motions, then it's obviously some kind of glitch with moving. My wife is texting
Yeah,
me.
they're already way.
what everybody says because we get it here all the time.
B again. Why am I getting the same letters? I'm getting X and B. I've already done that.
Motions are too fast.
I'm telling you to slow down with that damn camera.
It's forgetting you have the camera.
No, I know I have it.
Oh, we were just talking about, you know, when you move it too fast, it looks like there's two people, and she just said your
I
motion.
just realized I got killed the mother. Yeah.
K.
That's kind of a piratey term.
Third, the same letter. I've gotten 3 of the same letters.
What is it?
K.
Okay.
X, V, and K. I've done both of those twice. Well, like,
Are those like Roman numerals? Is K a Roman numeral?
I think so.
F.
Or XV would be 15.
I just remembered.
It's numerals. That was.
And then I
Well,
just
that
got
was-
F, which is another letter I had before.
So XVK, obviously XV is
Lift
15.
or some sort.
Let's research one.
Like we got the Estes method going on right now.
I have to heal.
I'm not listening to what she's saying, so I don't know what she's saying.
E. F. F. E.
Carter.
Something on the periodic table. Iron.
F. E. Iron.
He's a doctor.
Then I just got E again. F. E. H. I.
Well, the doctors bleed over from over there, so there's probably another clue somewhere that we're missing.
F. E.
300.
E. H. I.
All right, you guys have given me.
Everyone's looking for me.
You're right, Ann. We are looking for you. Let's go back to the wall. Give you guys the answers, and we'll go play with it.
Another K. Why am I getting K?
I don't know. I gotta look it up to see if it's the Roman numeral.
I know V's a Roman numeral.
So is X. So put XV together, it's 15.
Suspects.
I'm also getting K. Well, I got 2 E's.
I have the
B. F. E. E. I'm like, what word is spelled out?
She said I have the lock, and he said unfortunate. So I was just cracking up about.
Alright, so let's give the answers very briefly so we can go to Washington Park.
Lifting and encouraging.
That's probably a bleed over. Sure.
scare.
Alright, so let's put you guys on pause for just a moment. 'cause
What I don't understand is every time Noelle says something, it's like I just heard it, but I couldn't hear it, or I could barely hear it, and I'm like not surprised that she said it.
Why am I getting so
I-
Again,
it's-
they're not synced up.
I just got J,
I know,
K, N,
but-
Q. Rapid.
But every time she says something, it's like I've already heard it. Like she didn't, or like I heard it already, but I never recognized it.
You
But
just
I'm
didn't get to
never
it quick enough,
surprised.
or you just heard it prior,
No, but
and
it,
you just didn't repeat it quick enough.
except I didn't hear it though.
So this is Anne Bonny. Her parents were William Cormack, as already mentioned. The mother was Mary Brennan. This was not another subliminal trick because we already said the name Mary with Mary Reed. It just so happens we have two different Marys. So again, by the way, this I think you remember this one of the few pictures you can find of her with a shirt on. She used to basically flash, whatever gentleman she was killing to show that they were just killed by a woman. So again, this is I get teenage boys. I don't need you walking away pissed off like what the hell is he doing showing naked ladies to my boys. So
I don't want to see that.
I don't really care. HTUM.
Calico Jack. This is what they based Johnny Depp's Captain Jack Sparrow
Oh, I
character
got
off of.
jacked twice.
You did say Jack.
Yeah,
that
I
was
got
one of the
Jack
things
twice.
I needed to write down. So he was named that because of the jackets that he wore. So his jackets came from British captains that he killed.
Yeah, I got. Actually, no, I don't know if I said it, but I got Jack. Several times.
You said Jack while you were sitting
Okay.
down over here.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
think
why
it was
we
like
got
the
that.
second. I think I got it like 3 or 4 times. Sorry.
It's okay. He's excited. He's actually learning stuff. He gets it. So, Calico Jack basically means fancy jacket. That's where the name comes from. The name of his ship is called the Kingston, and I don't necessarily expect the word Kingston to come out of the two red spirit boxes that we're using because our radio stations are not going to say the word Kingston. But if you heard the word King, that would make sense to me here. We did get the word King on my word list a few nights ago. Somebody else was using it and it showed up. Along with the word jacket, like 2 words away from it.
So, is it normal for it to like randomly stop recording and start a new recording?
Yes. Okay. The files on that are giant. So what it does is every 10 minutes, I think in 33 seconds or something, it starts a new file. So I just splice them all together so you get one video. It actually takes an overnight process, so I can watch it in the morning as one video to be able to send to you guys.
These be like creating something HTUMN. Seems like we need more than something.
I got the word thumb is in there, but without the B.
Looks like autumn almost.
Okay. I'm not looking at it, I'm looking at it in my head. The first thing that comes up to me is the word thumb. If you see the word autumn out of it, at least that it could be.
When he said it, I thought autumn.
It's still kind of vague. It's almost like the last part of it, the UMN. So the next space is the new space. So those of you with cameras, go ahead and stop them because we're going to be walking 2.5 blocks. There's really no point. And those while we're talking about the history of the space, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. But again, you don't need to put the blindfolds on. Again, it doesn't look good when I'm blindfolding kids in the middle of the night in the middle of a dark park. So don't put them on until we come back because we're going to huddle around you. No, it's 2-ply, remember? So in the center, this way. Lift up right here.
What?
Rip this part right here. I'm showing you wrong. So once you have a big loop, you take the middle and you feel that it rips apart, and then there's 2 loops, 2 holes right there for your ears.
You fit your ears through these holes?
Try not to touch
This lamp looks creepy in that light.
Oh, the green
Are
light.
you gonna go home and get
the
that?
holes right there.
What?
You're gonna get that app?
It's quite expensive. I don't have enough money.
You
No,
probably.
it's free. If you can get the paid version where you don't have things pop up.
All right, guys, let's go
There's
learn
a
the
free
history of the
version
space.
of it too.
Ah.
You guys ready? I figured you were okay with me blindfolding your kids.
Yeah.
So. I don't do this with every investigation, by the way.
If I objected, I would have mutiny on the way home.
Alright, so space where we're at now is Washington Park. I had no idea what the hell we were going to find when we came here for the first time. So if you look around, there's a million monuments, so I really didn't know. What was found was somebody heard that the year 1828 on a spirit box. I didn't know what that meant. I wrote it down. The name Henry showed up, and then the name Tim showed up on my word list. This is Henry Timrod, born in 1828. So, I was like, well, hot damn, there goes. Quick, brief history on him. He was sick for most of his life. Obviously, being born in 1828, he was old enough to go fight with the Confederates in the Civil War. He goes out to the battlefield. His comrades realize he's too sick to fight. They send him home and say, go be the voice of the war. They refused to go. They wanted him to write about what was going on the battlefield. He comes home, he's writing. He becomes known as the Laureates of the Confederacy. It's a pretty big title for writers. However, he has a son a few years later. They're not going to know anything about the son. They're going to be poking the bear, trying to get him to talk about his son. His son's name was Willie, born on Christmas Eve and died 9 months later on October 23rd. Obviously a very tragic ending. He's still mourning. His college friend calls him up and says, come out to my cottage and continue writing out here because you haven't been writing as much. Leave your wife Kate behind to mourn with her parents. And that's where Henry wrote his last words. Beholder of brief mortality, which means person of short life. And then he coughs, and it lands on the page in a blood stain. He had tuberculosis. Last night on the envelope, we actually had the letters TUB come up as I was asking Henry what he died of. So again, tuberculosis is a lot to say, but we had a good part of it on the envelope, so I was pretty stoked about that. But anyway, that blood stain is shown once a year on Halloween at the Charleston Library Society, because that's where this collection is held. However, they only show it to members of the society, but the internet is beautiful. So we'll show you what the page looks like, and then we're going to go poke the bear with these two and see if we can get out of them. Have you guys ever done the Estes method like this before? Okay. It's interesting. It can go really well, it can go really bad. So it just goes one way or the other. last page he ever wrote. Beholder of brief mortality, and that's the bloodstain. It actually looks like a man writing at his desk. So again, kind of a creepy ending story to go with, and that's why I started introducing the Estes method, because it's a place to sit down, and I'm going to explain a few tips to them about how this is going to go, because it can be very disorienting. So again, I'm only going to keep them under for about 10 minutes, depending on how the breathing is going and things like that. Because again, it can be very intense. So I know that they have a little bit of experience with your guys' spirit box, but do they have that experience with earphones, like earbuds in, or is it just open air with your spirit box? How do they use it?
I will use earbuds.
Okay.
I usually use earbuds.
Okay. Again, that's usually the most disorienting part. People that have never done this before. So let's go see what we can get out of it.
You're pretty active, huh?
ZB.
Like a bee.
RTULO.
You tried stealing.
Oh, is that why you're crying?
Yeah.
Those close to you. The best footage is probably going to come out of this one, Micah.